Chapter 4. Cancer. Upon leaving the body, taking the path of fire, of the light of the day, of the fortnight of the moon, and of the northern solstice, those who know Brahma go to Brahma. Verse 24, Chapter 8, the Bhagavad Gita. The yogi who, upon dying, goes on the path of smoke, of the dark fortnight of the moon, and of the southern solstice, reaches the lunar sphere, and is then reborn. Verse 28, Chapter 8, the Bhagavad Gita. These two paths, the luminous and the dark, are considered permanent. One becomes emancipated on the first one, and is reborn on the second one. Verse 26, Chapter 8, Bhagavad Gita. The being is not born, nor does he ever die. He does not reincarnate. He has no origin. He is eternal, immutable. He is before everyone, and does not die when the body is killed. Verse 20, Chapter 2, Bhagavad Gita. The ego borns, the ego dies. Distinguish between the ego and the being. The ego is not born, neither does it die, nor reincarnate. Three are the types of fruits of actions: unpleasant, pleasant, and the mixture of both. Those fruits become adhered after death to those who have not renounced, but not to the man of renunciation. Verse 12, Chapter 18, the Bhagavad Gita. Learn from me, O mighty armed one, about these 5 causes related to the fulfillment of actions, according to the highest wisdom, which is the goal of every action. Verse 13, Chapter 18, the Bhagavad Gita. The body, the ego, the organs, the functions, and the deities, or planets, are the 5 causes. Verse 14, Chapter 18, Bhagavad Gita. Any proper or improper act, whether it be physical, verbal, or mental, has those 5 causes. Verse 15, Chapter 18, Bhagavad Gita. Now such being the case, the one who, due to defective comprehension, considers Atman, the being, the absolute, as an actor, is stubborn, does not see reality. Verse 16, Chapter 81, the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita therefore makes a differentiation between the ego, I, and the being, Atman. The intellectual animal, erroneously called man, is a compound of body, ego, I, organs, and functions. It is a machine moved by the deities, or we should better say, the planets. Many times, any cosmic catastrophe is enough for the waves that reach the earth to launch those sleeping human machines to the battlefields. Millions of sleeping machines against millions of sleeping machines. The moon brings egos to the womb, and the moon takes them away. Max Heindel says that conception is always carried out while the moon is in Cancer. Conception without the moon is impossible. The first 7 years of life are governed by the moon. The second 7 years of life are 100% mercurial. The child then goes to school, is restless, is in incessant movement. The third septennium of life, tender adolescence between 14 and 21 years of life, are governed by Venus, the star of love. That is the age of the sting, the age of love, the age in which we see life rose-colored glasses. From 21 up to 42 years of life, we have to occupy our little place under the sun and to define our life. That period is governed by the sun. The septennium, comprised by the period between 42 and 49 years of age, is 100% Martian, and life then becomes an authentic battlefield, because Mars is war. The period between 49 and 56 years of age is Jupiterian. It is clear that those who have Jupiter well situated in their horoscope during that period of their life are respected by the whole world, and if they do not possess the unnecessary worldly riches, they at least have what is necessary in order to be able to live very well. Another is the fate of those who have Jupiter badly situated in their horoscope. Those persons then suffer the unutterable. They lack bread, clothes, shelter. They are ill-treated by others, etc., etc., etc. The period of life comprised between 56 and 63 years of age is governed by the Ancient of the Heavens, Old Saturn. Really, old age begins at 56 years of age. Once the period of Saturn has passed, the moon returns. It brings the ego to birth, and it takes it away. If we carefully observe the elders of very advanced age, we can verify that they certainly return to the age of children. Some old men and women once again play with little cars and dolls. Elders who are older than 63 and children under 7 are governed by the moon. Among thousands of men, perhaps one will strive for perfection. Among those strivers, one possibly achieves perfection, and among the perfect, perhaps one knows me perfectly. The ego is lunar, and upon leaving the physical body, it goes on the path of smoke, of the dark fortnight of the moon, and of the southern solstice, and soon returns to a new womb. The moon carries it away, and the moon brings it. That is the law. The ego is garbed with lunar vehicles. The internal vehicles studied by theosophy are of a lunar nature. The sacred scriptures of the Jam says the universe is inhabited by different creatures existing in samsara, born from different families and castes. Due to having committed several actions, and depending on what they are, they sometimes go to the world of the gods, other times to the inferno, and sometimes they become asuras, diabolic persons. This is how living beings who are incessantly born and reborn because of their evil actions do not despise samsara. The moon carries away all egos, but does not bring them all back around once again. During these times, the majority enter the infernal worlds, the sublunar regions, the submerged mineral kingdom, the exterior darkness where only crying and gnashing of teeth are heard. Few are the disembodied that can today afford the luxury of some vacations in the world of the gods before returning to a new womb through the doors of the moon. Many are those who return immediately, carried away and brought by the moon without having enjoyed the delights of the superior worlds. The perfect, elected ones, those who dissolved the ego, fabricated their solar bodies, and sacrificed themselves for humanity, are blessed. Upon leaving the physical body with death, they take the path of fire, of the light, of the day, of the luminous fortnight of the moon and of the northern solstice. They have incarnated the being. They know Brahma, the Father who is in secret, and it is clear that they go to Brahma, the Father. Jainism says that during this great day of Brahma, 24 greater prophets who have attained total perfection descend to this world. Gnostic scriptures say that there are 12 saviors, in other words, 12 avatars. But if we think of a John the Baptist as precursor, and of Jesus as an avatar for Pisces, the age that just passed, we can then comprehend that for each of the 12 zodiacal ages, there is always a precursor and an avatar, a total of 24 great prophets. Mahavira was Buddha's precursor, and John the Baptist was that of Jesus. The sacred Rascorano, death, is full of inner beauty. The truth about death is only known by the one who has experienced its deep significance. The moon carries away and brings the deceased. The extremes touch each other. Death and conception are intimately united. The path of life is formed by the tracks of the hoofs of the horse of death. The disintegration of all the elements that constitute the physical body originate a very special vibration which invisibly passes through time and space. Exercise will permit us to remember our present life and the previous one and the past existences. The retrospective exercise permits us to become conscious of our own lunar ego, of our own errors. Let us remember that the ego is a bunch of memories, desires, passions, anger, covetousness, lust, pride, laziness, gluttony, self-esteem, resentments, vengeances, etc. If we want to dissolve the ego, we should first study it. The ego is the root of ignorance and pain. Only the being, Atman, is perfect, but he is not born, neither does he die nor reincarnate. This is how Krishna said it in the Bhagavad Gita. If the student falls asleep during the retrospective exercise, so much the better, because in the internal worlds he will be able to know himself, remember his entire life, and all of his past lives. In the same manner that the medical surgeon needs to study a cancerous tumor before extirpating it, likewise the Gnostic needs to study his own ego before extirpating it. During cancer, the energies accumulated in the bronchi and lungs by Gemini should now be passed on, in cancer, to the thymus gland. The cosmic forces which ascend through our organism meet at the thymus gland with the forces which descend, and the two interlaced triangles, Solomon's seal, is formed. The disciples should meditate daily on this seal of Solomon being formed in the thymus gland. We have been told that the thymus gland regulates the growth of children. It is interesting that the mother's mammary glands are intimately related to the thymus gland. That is why the maternal milk can never be substituted by any other food for children. The natives of Cancer have a character that is as variable as the phases of the moon. The natives of Cancer are peaceful by nature, but they are terrible when they become angry. The natives of Cancer have a disposition for the manual arts, practical arts. The natives of Cancer have a vivid imagination, but they should be careful of fantasy. Conscious imagination is advisable. The mechanical imagination, called fantasy, is absurd. Cancer people have a soft, shy, and timid nature, homely virtues. In Cancer, we sometimes find some individuals who are too passive, slack, lazy. The natives of Cancer are very fond of novels, movies, etc. The metal of Cancer is silver. The pearl is its stone. Its color is white. Cancer, the sign of the crab or of the sacred scarab, is the house of the moon. The vibratory waves of the deceased are similar to television waves that carry images. The embryo is, to the waves of death, what a screen is to the waves of transmitting stations. The vibratory waves of death carry the image of the deceased. This image remains deposited in the fecundated egg. Under the lunar influence, the spermatozoa penetrates the egg's covering, which instantly closes once again, imprisoning it. There it generates a very interesting field of attraction, attracting and being attracted towards the feminine nucleus, which silently awaits in the egg's center. When these two capital nuclei fuse into a single unit, the chromosomes begin their famous dance, intertwining and reintertwining themselves in an instant. This is how the design of someone who agonized and died comes to crystallize in the embryo. Each ordinary cell of the human organism contains 40 chromosomes. This reminds us of the 48 laws of the world in which we live. The reproductive cells of the organism only contain a single chromosome from each pair. But in their union, they produce the new combination of 48, which cause each embryo to be unique and different. Every human form, every organism is a precious machine. Each chromosome carries in itself the seal of some function, quality, or special characteristic. One pair determines the gender, since the duality of this pair is what makes females. The odd pair of chromosomes originates males. Let us remember the biblical legend of Eve, who was made from Adam's rib, and having therefore one rib more than him. The chromosomes themselves are made up of genes, and each of the latter by a few molecules. Really, the genes constitute the frontier between this world and the other, between the third and the fourth dimension. The waves of the dying, the waves of death act upon the genes, putting them in order inside the fecundated egg. This is how the lost physical body is reconstructed. This is how the design of the deceased becomes visible in the embryo. During the period of Cancer, our Gnostic disciples should practice, before falling asleep in their bed, a retrospective exercise of their own life, like someone who is watching a movie from the end to the beginning, or like someone who reads a book from the end to the beginning, from the last to the first page. The objective of this retrospective exercise of our own life is to auto-know, auto-discover ourselves, to recognize our good and evil actions, to study our own lunar ego, to make conscious the subconscious. It is necessary to arrive in a retrospective manner at our birth and remember it. A superior effort will permit the student to connect his birth with the death of his previous physical body. Drowsiness combined with meditation, with the retrospective,